Hey everybody, we are back with another episode of Bullishes, top stocks to watch for the week and why. I have a few to cover for this week, but before I jump into it, a couple things. Hey, these are only my opinions and your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving kind of what I'm seeing, what I'm watching, not necessarily what I'm playing, but definitely what I'm watching for the week. I'll try to give you a little bit of why. Also, hey, give us a sub here, help me feel good about myself. A like as well. Follow also real_bullish wherever you get your social media poison. I'm pretty active on Twitter and stock twits, so I like to engage people a lot there for the good or for the bad, right? But all right, we'll jump into it real quick. And one of the ones I wanted to cover was a recycle from last week. I think this was the last one. I won't go into the bull thesis of why I'm really watching AMD, especially over the past few weeks. If you want that, go to the last episode. I think episode 25, 26, whatever. I don't forget what I'm on. But basically, there was a few good things that are coming on now and into the near future before definitely the end of the year. So my time horizon for AMD is a little bit longer. But even though stepping into the month, the charts look really good. It was in a really good channel. The charts looked ugly a couple weeks ago. It has looked a little bit better. One thing that made a lot of sense to me was this bottom hammer here. Like I said, this kind of candle setup is really good at the bottom, not so good at the top. A lot of other indicators at the month level, basically were looking good. RSI was kind of staying flat with the channel for the month. MACD was kind of dipping, and I'll go into kind of a little bit of detail as I go on about like MACD and stuff and how you can use that. There's just indicators. People use different indicators to kind of help them have the best probability of success. And these are kind of the ones that I find that are more successful for me, right? I don't want to have too many, but also like I think that there is some value in having those. At the week level, again, kind of same difference. It looks really good. 3 weeks ago was kind of looking meh. I think I called it like ugly sex or nasty sexy like a week ago, but really like this week kind of turned it around. I think you see a lot of things kind of working with that. But again, it's at the week level. You see kind of it found support here where it needed to find support. Honestly, at $74, it hit that at the week level. It's at the day level too, and kind of bounce off of that. That's exactly what you wanted to see, and that's exactly what it did. A lot of things went into that, but if you watch the last episode, it'll kind of go into why the volume isn't there though. That's kind of one of the things that people are kind of waiting on the sideline to kind of I think see if it tests this 80 area after it breaks out, which it looks like it's done now. But basically, volume hasn't been there for maybe a month or two, month and a half, right? The last volume over average was selling volume, which is not good, but you see that dip and come back. RSI again, you see kind of like a little divot here, and RSI wants to pick back up. That's a really good sign. This MACD is kind of curving at the week level as well. And I like to catch things. If you see this 10 EMA, I like to catch things as soon as you break from that, right? I don't like to get too far extended. Like I wouldn't have bought it up here because it's too far from the line, and there was support or resistance here, right? I want to see it kind of test this 10 EMA again and then play with that. That's exactly what it did. Sorry if you hear my dogs are kind of running around behind me. But also at the day level, it looked really good as well. I'm not gonna lie. It has had a bit of a run since when 514. When it hit that 72 area. It stayed a few days here. So if you caught it here, good for you. I was waiting to see if it was gonna break or test this, and that's when I started really watching AMD because you didn't know which way it was going to go. It showed support here. It's like a bunch of candles here, maybe one, two, three. So like, it's 7 days worth of candles kind of testing the same area, building itself and just letting people wash out. What I liked is that there wasn't a lot of volume that was negative or positive until you had this break here, catch it here and then write it up this next area. So I don't like buying things in the middle, even though I do it. Unfortunately, I like to buy things at the top or the bottom. This is an example of the bottom. This is an example of the top, the new bottom. So what I want to see it do is test, which it looks like it's going to do today. It's going to test this support or a previous resistance that is now support. And if you go into it at the day level, that's probably what it's doing. Yeah, you had a really good breakout for today. Now it's going to try to test this level. So I want to see what it's going to do here. I'll just set a really, really quick alert. Create alert. It's simple. Yeah, you do at or below. So if it breaks below this, I'll get a text message immediately. But also the opposite. I want to know if it breaks out as well. I just want to for my own a thought, kind of see if it breaks out of that. But anyways, I really like AMD. It found support where it needed to find support at the day level. You can break this down to it's not ready. It's still in the downtrend. Don't get me wrong, but I think that like AMD is going to be a great company, and there's a lot of people that are kind of feeling me on that one. So not feeling me, but I'm like agreeing with them. AMD is something I've been watching forever. The other one I wanted to go into is Airbnb. There's a few reasons for Airbnb. Again, it hasn't traded for a really long time. It's only started trading since December of last year, so relatively new. So you kind of want to play these because there's not a lot of history behind it. There's a lot of hype and shit behind it. But what I liked is that a few things. They've had a lot of really good mentions, specifically on. There was one, and I think it's in. If you go to my YouTube show page, it's at the bottom. One of the shows that I watch weekly, if not like every day, right? It's called Dumb Money Live. They had a really good, I think, last week, both theses on Airbnb and why they were super bullish at different levels. Some of, I think there's three people. One of them got in before it went public. One got in during, and one's looking to get in now. And they kind of gave their opinions. And there was a lot of smart stuff being said with stuff like that. But I've already been watching Airbnb, but I thought that that was a really good call out there. They had a lot of really good points. Like I said, now maybe just go check it out for yourself just to get your own thing. But yeah, Airbnb, the valuation is still high. It's still trading like a high flyer tech company. So you still got to watch out for that because the market is not necessarily the market from last year. It's not at all. Last year valuations didn't matter. This year they really do. Like how expensive a company is. But anyways, at the month level, it did what it's supposed to do again. And that's what I love when companies do what they're supposed to do. It found support here at the 138 line here at the month level, right? So it's only been trading for about 6 months, but still it's doing. It's kind of all that hype and shit faded out. Also, there's a lockup period. That's what they mentioned on the show as well. That was important. There was two lockup periods. The first one was 40%. This one is 60%. So basically, what lockup period is anytime a new company goes on, usually there's like fuckload of shares out that people got in early, and they have a lockup period means that they can now sell those shares. Well, there's no more lockup period for Airbnb. They're all like at the market, so people that now are free to kind of trade or sell as they need it. It need to be. That was like the last big hurdle before I really wanted to get into Airbnb. I forgot when the lockup period was, but it turns out it was last week. So you definitely see that. You see that in the rebound at the week level. Again, it's still in a downtrend from its peak of about 219 ish, right? So there's still a long way to go down. But what I do like is at the week level, it did find support here where it needed to. I wanted it to break lower. You see this alert here at 132. It actually didn't catch that. But what I do like is that it had this like kind of like a hammer. Like I said, this is really good at the bottom at an area that it needed to. If it broke that, I was gonna jump in this motherfucker real hard. But it didn't. It didn't. It bounced where it needed to bounce. It didn't break the trend because I was basically looking at below this kind of like weekly candle of this, right? If it broke below the lowest actual good candle it went to, it was gonna be really interesting. Found support where it needed to. Right now it's having some, it's up 2% today already. But anyways, at the week level, I don't like it because it's in a downtrend, but I do like it because it found support. It still can go, whatever way it wants to. But what I like is the RSI is kind of picking up at the week level, and the MACD is kind of curving at the week level. And these two indicators to me are really strong at the week level and at the day level, a little bit more, but month level as well. But once at the longer time horizons, it takes longer for these kind of indicators to shift one way or the other. And right now we see a really good shift at the week level to a positive upswing. It found support. So this is what I'm saying about using indicators as a way to kind of inform how you trade. Because you have a candle here that looks pretty good at a downtrend. You have support here. Those are two indicators. You have volume. I mean, volume right now doesn't really tell us anything because there's no average. But that would be another indicator if the volume is over average, which right here it's looking good. Another indicator, the RSI is coming up. So that's like four bullish indicators at the week level. So for me, I'm like, okay, great. That's not too bad. Also at the day level, I like to step through things month, week, day. At the day level, it found a lot of support here. And then we looked at AMD, it was something similar, right? It's finding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's like 10 days worth, 10 trading days worth of fucking building a base here. To kind of get back up here. And that's what I love about this one. You do see a lot of, so that was probably the selling from the, 40 million shares traded in one day for the negative. That was probably when that lockup period was expiring, I'm guessing on 517. But anyways, yeah, that was something that people were waiting for to really get bullish on Airbnb. And to me, Airbnb is a tech play, but also a reopening play and a stay-at-home play at the same time. They have a lot of really good offerings, I think, into the near future while doing stuff like that. So anyways, RSI again at the day level is picking up really good from being oversold to now kind of bouncing is going up. Day level is going up. So I really like Airbnb. Definitely going into this year. Again, different time horizons or different things. But anyways, speaking about tech, and one reason I'm watching ARKK. If you're not familiar with Cathy Woods, I mean, I've been watching. Got all these indicators and shit from here. But I've been watching Cathy for a while. I think everyone that is in the know kind of has been doing that. But definitely, what she was the best money manager of 2020 by far. 2021, it's a different market, so it's a little bit taking a breather. But I think that you watch this ARK specifically or ARKF, her ARK funds to see kind of what the appetite is for high valuation growth stocks. And you can see, since basically February, it's been on a fucking downtrend, right? From 195 all the way to it was like at the lowest last month of 97. So tech is taking a hit, but I think that we're at that really good spot where it's decreasing less to start looking at it and nibbling into it more. You see this really high, see, hey, RSI was going up high. This is the opposite of what we saw. It reached a peak of 87 and now it cooled off. Right now, it's going down. It's selling pressure is going down. MACD is going down. MACD looks like it wants to pinch to be bearish, but it looks like it wants to pinch and then let go. So that's always good. Again, at the month level, it takes a lot longer to kind of see those trends to formulate. So keep a lookout for that. Like I said, hey, this is ones that to me I would nibble in, but not jump into because it's still in a really good downtrend. At the week level, hey, it hit this top of this channel and then it just busted this channel support up. But it's finding really really good support here, and that's what I love about 106 ish right now. It's 110, so not too far off. But she has a lot of really good names in here. At the week level, it still looks like it wants to go into downtrend, right? It can't bust this 10 EMA. This 10 EMA was it was riding it as support. Now it's really tough resistance, right? But once you kind of build a solid base, you can start building off of that, or maybe it doesn't. But I want to catch it again at this 105 level. I want to play with it there because it shows like, hey, boom, going back to 3-1 is showing really good support there. And then kind of just meandering in that area. You see some high selling pressure coming in. This is like an interesting candle, but it didn't really do anything from there. It's just kind of following it lower. RSI is kind of staying flat to going down. MACD looks like it wants to kind of curve up at the week level, but we'll see how that works out for them. At the day level, kind of not much more there. Like, hey, similar to the past week, we saw building a really strong base here. So this would have been a really good area to get into. But I would have caught it when it broke this. I get the base here. I get it. But what I want to do is go after like the longest candle down. That usually was this one. So now that it kind of, so it respected and tested right here, right? Respected it tested, respected back, and then build off from there. So that's probably where I should have caught it. I haven't, full disclosure, I haven't been in ARKK for a little while since the big sell off. I just got out. I was like, you know what, I'll jump back in and make my, hey, it's about being right, but knowing when you're wrong to kind of to make a plan. And for me, I wrote ARKK when it was kind of bumping down. I was up really good on it, and I just kind of let it sit, and I got greedy, and it fucked me. But anyways, that's kind of what happens. That's the name of the game. I know when I'm wrong, and I get out, or I have a plan to try to be less wrong. But it never really works to kind of average down for losers, especially when you're going against this one. So like if this one, like, hey, if I'm working against this and the market doesn't like it anymore, you just got to get out because you're gonna lose. Fucking 60% of your money on that one. It's gonna take 120% just to get back where you were originally, right? 60 move down, 60 move up, right, to break even, right? Anyways, but yeah, I'll wrap this up real quick. I like Arcade because it's kind of starting to come back a little bit. I want to see it ease up a little bit and then start buying into it because there's a lot of really good companies in Arcade. And I still believe in Cathy Wood. I just think that the market kind of turned against her, but she's doing a lot of things on the back end to average down to hopefully make herself be in a better position. The other one I wanted to go into is one that SOFI. This is actually one. It was an SPAC merger. I don't like SPACs. I don't fuck with SPACs. But Chamath, if you don't know who Chamath is, look him up. He's pretty good. It's one of his SPACs. They had a really good. So SoFi just started trading today under SoFi, but before it was IPOE. And what I liked about this one is that it had a really good run. At the week level, you can kind of see. And what I loved about it right here is it was like an ABCD pattern. What I wanted to find though is I wanted it to find support here at $19. It had a really good run early on, because basically it's a SPAC company, but it's backed by SoFi. SoFi is now the ticker name. But what I would look at for this one is support at like a 19, $20, right? And as long as it holds that and then goes off under the new symbol SoFi, I would be really interested in it. Right now, like let's say that's the week level. Let's say 30-minute chart. It's doing that right there. So it's finding support. At $20. That's where you wanted to get it. Really big sell off. People are taking profits, but if you look at a 30-minute level, it looks like it wants to hold there. And as long as it holds that, I think it's an interesting company. SoFi, if you're not familiar with them, they're basically a digital offering bank. All digital bank. Like I said, Seeking Alpha. If you don't know what Seeking Alpha is, I definitely recommend you kind of. It's $30 a month. It pays for itself. Honestly, basically has a lot of really good articles and knowledge base. So there was a really good article on Seeking Alpha that I read like a couple times. It's really good bull thesis from like how they're positioned now and into the future. There's a lot of tailwinds and catalysts coming down into the future for this company. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger, right? And I think that $20 is an interesting price for it. I want to catch it more like 15. I don't think it's like a $10 company, but a 15 or something like that. But you're kind of paying up, so don't try to chase it too much. but I think if it holds 20-ish area, it's going to be a really interesting company. Also, Motley Fool has a really good podcast and YouTube channel. I think they had a really good argument for it last week. I want to say like around Wednesday. So look up Motley Fool and their SoFi kind of bull thesis. There's a lot of smart people saying a lot of really good shit about this company. I haven't used SoFi before. I know the company. I never used it before, but looking into it more and more, it seems super interesting. And they're doing a lot of things to kind of position themselves well into right now and into the future, like buying charters for banks and stuff like that, and like being like a truly digital like financial institution. Anyways, like I said, hey, $20. That's where I want to catch this motherfucker at, and I think I will eventually. It just ran too much when it was IPOE, and I couldn't like justify going into it too heavy. I did try to play this one, and I was up and then I was down, and I kind of worked out at break even. But basically, I chased it too much. I should have caught it like earlier. Definitely at this line here, you can see, hey, $14 was. I mean, it's not rocket science. $14 was a really interesting area. If you would have caught it there, if I would have like heard about it more, I would have done that for sure. But anyways, I'll wrap it up. AMD. Watch the last episode, kind of see what I was thinking about that one. Airbnb, it's a reopening play. It's a tech play. It's a work from home play. It's a fucking everything play. Now that the lock-up periods are expired, I think that's going to make it more interesting. ARKK, if you want to jump back into growth little by little, I'm looking at doing that growth little by little, not jumping into growth heavily, but like kind of biting into it. SoFi, like I said, SoFi was an SPAC merger. Chamath was behind it, and I think this company is. I fucking hate SPACs. They're fucking, to me, they're kind of dirty. But this one was a really interesting one that kind of made me change my perception of that. And that's what about trading is. It's about trading your perception. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. You got to flip, and you got to know when to pivot to know when you one way or the other. But anyways, I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great short week.